students and welcome to the study portal. The topic of today's video is cardiovascular system. So in today's video we will focus on the cardiovascular system, the components of the cardiovascular system, that is the heart and the associated organs, the blood supply of the heart and the physiology of the heart. We will also cover the different pathophysiology associated with the cardiovascular system. So without delay, let's start the video. So what is actually cardiovascular system? The cardiovascular system is sometimes called the blood vascular or simply the circulatory system. Here you can see it is written the circulatory system. Alright, so it consists of heart, which is a muscular pumping device, and a closed system of vessels called arteries, veins and capillaries. As the name implies, circulatory system, it is the blood contained in the circulatory system is pumped by the heart around a closed circle or circuit of vessels as it passes again and again through the various circulations of the body. As you can see in this picture, it is clearly given that how the veins and capillaries or the arteries are running throughout the body, and the heart here located here is pumping out the blood through these veins, arteries and capillaries to all the tissues of the body. Alright, it is an organ system which permits blood to circulate and transport nutrients such as amino acids and electrolytes, oxygen, carbon dioxide, hormones and blood cells to all the parts of the body in order to provide nourishment. Alright, so this is what is circulatory system. Moving on. Now talking about the blood vessels, that what are the blood vessels? The blood vessels play a vital role in the cardiovascular system in maintaining the homeostasis and the flow of blood. So there are different types of blood vessels located in our body. First one are the arteries. They carry blood away from the heart, and the arteries carry the oxygenated blood. Then the capillaries. Capillaries are the vessels in which the nutrient and gas exchange takes place. Alright, so the capillaries carry the lymphatic fluid as well as the oxygenated blood. Alright, now next are the veins, also called as venules. They carry blood towards the heart. The veins carry deoxygenated type of blood. So what happens? The veins take the blood towards the deoxygenated blood towards the heart, then heart purifies the blood and the oxygenated blood is then carried in the arteries away from the heart to the body parts. So this is the double circulation that takes place in the heart. Hope this is clear to you now. Moving on. Next, talking about arteries. Arteries and arterioles take blood away from the heart. The largest artery of the body is the aorta, which is located in the heart. The middle layer of artery wall consists of smooth muscles which can constrict to regulate blood flow and blood pressures. The blood vessels are very important because they are responsible for regulating the blood flow and maintaining the blood pressure inside the body. The arterioles can constrict, that is, they can contract and relax or dilate, which causes the change in the blood pressure. Moving on, now talking about the capillaries. You will see that in the body of some persons, if you see the hands of certain persons, you will see the thin vessels moving throughout the body. These are capillaries. Capillaries have walls only one cell thick to allow exchange of gases and nutrients. The capillaries are responsible for the exchange of gases and nutrients. Alright, so the capillaries to allow the movement of gases or the exchange of gases and nutrients, the wall of capillaries is only one cell thick. The capillary beds are present in all regions of the body, but not all the capillary beds are open at the same time. Alright, there is also present the sphincter muscle which closes off a bed, and blood can flow through an arteriovenous shunt that bypasses the capillary blood. Here you can see the diagrammatic representation of capillaries, that how capillaries are interconnected with arteries and veins. Moving on, talking about veins. Veins are the blood vessels in humans and most other animals that carry blood towards the heart. Vein carries the deoxygenated blood to the heart, and then the heart purifies the tissue, and then the oxygenated blood is carried by the arteries to all the body parts. Most veins carry deoxygenated blood from the tissues back to the heart, except for the pulmonary and umbilical vein, which carries oxygenated blood to the heart. Moving on. Now, veins have much less smooth muscles and connective tissue than arteries. Alright, they carry about 70% of the body's blood and act as a reservoir during hemorrhage. In case of hemorrhage, they act as a reservoir of blood. Now, talking about heart. Heart is a muscular pump that provides the force necessary to circulate the blood to all the tissues in the body. Its function is important because to survive, the tissues need a continuous supply of oxygen and nutrients, and metabolic waste products have to be removed out of the body. Deprived of these necessities, cells soon undergo irreversible changes that lead to death. Alright, so the heart pumps blood through the network of arteries and veins, and this system is called as the cardiovascular system. In the picture, you can see the diagram of the heart representing the different components of the heart. Here you can see that heart is a muscular organ consisting of muscles and veins and different things. So here you can see that heart consists of 4 chambers. First of all, the upper chambers are called as atrium, and the lower chambers are called as ventricles. These chambers are then separated into left side and the right side. The left upper chamber is called as left atrium, and the right upper chamber is called as right atrium. The lower chambers of the heart are subdivided into left ventricle and the right ventricle. Here you can see the largest artery, which is aorta, which is supplying the heart, and there are different valves located in the chambers of the heart to regulate the blood flow. That is the tricuspid valve and the mitral valve. Aortic valve is also present. Alright, so here you can see the different arteries and veins supplying the blood to the heart and supplying to the lower body as well. Moving on. Now, this is what I just repeated. I just told you that Heart is a hollow muscular organ. What is the location? It is located in the thorax between the two lungs. Alright, there are 4 chambers present in the heart. As I told you, the atrium and the ventricles. Here you can see the atrium and the ventricle. These are the 4 chambers of the heart. Then we have 4 valves in the heart. The 4 valves are the tricuspid valve, the mitral valve, the aortic valve and one other valve. Alright, there are 2 atriums and 2 ventricles, 4 chambers of the heart, 2 separate pumps that is left right, that are located, one on the right side and the other one on the left side. The right side receives blood from the body and sends it to the lungs. Alright, the right side of the heart receives the blood from the body and sends it to the lungs, whereas the left side receives blood from the lungs and sends it to the body. It receives blood, the left side receives the blood from the lungs and then sends it to the body. The right side receives the blood from the body and sends it to the lungs. It works vice versa. Moving on, heart is surrounded by a membrane called the pericardium. The outer layer which is covering the heart is called as the pericardium. Moving on, pericardium is a fibroserous sac that encloses the heart and roots of the great vessels. I told you that pericardium is the outer covering or the outer layer of the heart. It is very clearly and very beautifully covered in the picture that pericardium is the layer of the heart that encloses the heart and the roots of great vessels such as aorta, etc. The function of pericardium is to restrict excessive movement of the heart so that the heart is not able to move excessive, as well as it serves as a lubricated container in which the different parts of the heart can contract, because the work of the heart is to contract and relax, that is to pump the blood. It needs to be contract and relax again and again, so that there is no friction produced in the heart while contracting and relaxing again and again. The pericardium is there which serves as a lubricated container, due to which the heart, the different components of the heart are able to contract and relax properly. Moving on, now talking about the heart wall. The wall of the heart is made up of 3 layers, that is endocardium, which is the deepest layer of the heart, and it is a smooth lining to reduce friction of the blood flow. The second one is the endocardium, which is the inner or deepest layer. Then is the myocardium, which is the middle layer of the heart. In the myocardium, muscle fibers are located which are responsible for pumping of the blood. And then third layer is epicardium or pericardium, which is outer protective layer. Alright, it is composed of visceral pericardium, pericardial activity and parietal pericardium. Moving on. Now talking about the chambers of the heart. The heart is divided into 4 chambers. The upper chambers are called as atria and the lower chambers are called as the ventricles. The atrium and ventricles are then subdivided as left and right. Left atrium, left ventricle and the right ventricle. Moving on. Now talking about the features of the atrium. What are atrium? Atrium are small thin-walled chambers. What is their function? the function of the atrium is to act as receiving chambers for blood returning to the heart from the circulation. That is, it acts as a receiving chamber for blood that returns to the heart from the body, and it pushes the blood that it receives from the body to the adjacent ventricles. Now, the atria receive blood from, and at the right side, that is the right atrium, receives the blood from the superior vena cava, whereas the left side of the left atrium receives the blood from the pulmonary veins. Next, the ventricles. Ventricles make up the most of the mass of the heart. These are the walls of the thick walls that have thicker walls than those of the atrium. These are thick walled chambers. Alright, the function of the ventricle is to receive blood from the atrium and to act as discharging chambers of the heart. It receives blood from the atrium, and then what happens? It discharges blood to the different part of the body. It also propels blood to the pulmonary trunk. From the right ventricle, the blood is pumped to the pulmonary trunk, and from the left ventricle, the blood is pumped to the aorta. The right chamber is the upper chamber of the heart. Alright, it receives blood low in oxygen from the body, and then it empties the blood into the right ventricle, whereas the left ventricle receives blood full of oxygen from the lungs, that is the oxygenated blood, and then it empties the blood into the left ventricle. Now talking about the different walls of the heart. There are 4 types of walls present in the heart. The 4 types of walls are tricuspid wall, mitral wall, pulmonary wall, and the aortic wall. These 4 walls are contained or combined in the 2 major types. First one is the AV walls, that is atrioventricular nerves and walls, and the second one is the semilunar walls. Alright, the heart walls, what is the function of the heart wall? It ensures the unidirectional blood flow through the heart. That is, it ensures that the blood must flow in a single direction. The blood that is entering into the heart must flow in the single direction. The blood entering the heart should not flow in multiple directions, so that the proper pumping of the blood can be ensured. Alright, so the heart wall composed of an endocardium with a connective tissue core. Alright, there are 2 major types of heart walls. First one are the atrioventricular walls, and the second one are the semilunar walls. Moving on. Now, what are atrioventricular walls? The atrioventricular walls lie between the atrium and the ventricles, so that the proper functioning of the blood or the proper pumping, the wall which is located between the arteries and the ventricular, here, these are called the atrioventricular walls. Hope this is clear to you now. Alright, so the atrioventricular walls are of 2 types. Right atrioventricular walls, which is called as tricuspid wall, and the left atrioventricular wall, which is called as the bicuspid or mitral wall. The AV wall prevents the backflow of blood into the atrium when ventricles contract. If the ventricles will contract, the blood should not flow back to the atrium. This is maintained by the atrioventricular walls. There are 2 types of atrioventricular walls, the tricuspid valve and the bicuspid valve. The tricuspid valve consists of 3 layers, whereas the mitral valve or the bicuspid valve is 2 layered only. Alright. Moving on. Now talking about the semilunar heart valves. The semilunar heart valves prevents backflow of blood back into the ventricles. Aortic semilunar valve lies between the left ventricle and the aorta, and the pulmonary semilunar valve lies between the right ventricle and the pulmonary trunk. Alright, the heart sound is produced due to the closing of the valves. The dub sound. The dub sound is produced when the atrioventricular valves are closed, whereas the dub sound is produced when the semilunar valves get closed. So, the production of heart sound is dependent on the closing of heart valves. Alright, moving on. Now talking about the arterial supply of the heart. The arterial supply of the heart is provided by the right and left coronary artery, which arise from the ascending aorta immediately above the heart aortic valve or the atrioventricular valves. The right coronary artery branches into right marginal arteries, posterior interventricular artery, atrial nodal artery, and the atrioventricular nodal artery. These are the branches or the sub-branches of the left coronary artery. The septal branches, diagonal branches, left marginal artery, and the left circumflex artery. Here you can see the different coronary arteries present on the heart. Aorta, the right coronary artery, left main coronary artery, circumflex coronary artery, left anterior descending coronary artery. Now talking about the venous drainage of the heart. Most blood from the heart wall drains into the right atrium, alright, which lies into the posterior part of the AV groove. It is a continuation of the great cardiac vein. The venous drainage opens into the right atrium to the left of the inferior vena cava. Here you can see in the picture, inferior vena cava and superior vena cava are shown, and here the different veins and arteries are shown which are carrying the blood, high in oxygen, low in oxygen, and mixed kind of blood. Now talking about the nerve supply of the heart. The nerve supply of the heart is innervated by sympathetic and parasympathetic fibers of the ANS, while the cardiac plexus is situated just below the right arc of the aorta. That's all about the anatomy of the heart. In the next session, we will cover about the physiology of the heart, that is how does the heart works and how the physiology of the heart is attained, that is the double circulation, and the different problems or the clinical conditions associated with the heart. Hope you enjoyed this session. Keep learning, keep studying. Thank you for watching.